Welcome back to another episode of Unpacking with Jennifer Satel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to get new notifications when an episode drops. Oh my gosh, guys, welcome back. I'm here. I'm excited. As always, I thank you for listening. I thank you for taking the time to let me just talk about everything going on in my life for a snippet of time. And of course, I usually start with something about Charlotte, and I'm telling you a couple things because she has less than a week of school left. Yesterday was a week of school, and fourth grade is over. Um, it is over so early, and I've mentioned this, I think, maybe before. She gets out, she goes to a private school, so she gets out, I feel, very early. And what I mean by that is no summer camps start until like the end of June. So we have almost a month of grandma really stepping up to the plate and taking Charlotte, for days at a time so that David and I can work. And I mean, we have some stuff going on. I'm going to try to take some time off, but it's just, oh my gosh, it's crazy. And she also starts school early, like she starts in August and it's fine. But this year, every year, everybody says things fly by and they really, really do. And, we're at that home stretch where we had a project due last week. She was sick, of course. There's the push of the last amount of homework and all of this stuff. But one thing I have talked about and before, but it was last week actually. So, we have Teacher Appreciation Week. I don't remember having that as a kid. I don't even remember getting my teacher like a present for Christmas. I don't remember that at this age. I remember going to class. I just don't remember that. I'm sure we gave her a little something, maybe. I really don't know. But Teacher Appreciation Week, of course, teachers, I think, right below police officers and fire, I think teachers are the most important people. They're paid crap. They're teaching our children. They're teaching our children the future. They're the future, teaching our children the future. So I appreciate them. I'm not saying that I don't appreciate them. But what I'm saying is it's always like this rush of like, okay, well, let's get your teacher something. Mind you, I get her something for Easter and Valentine's Day and Christmas and, a Tuesday because Charlotte saw something that she would like and it's fine. But then it's like, oh, well, let's remember to get this teacher and the PE teacher and the theater teacher and this teacher. And, let's get, we're going to pay for the party that they won, but they really didn't win because we're paying for the party. Like, I'll do all of that, but I feel like it all comes at once. So like this last week, I'm Venmoing every single person I know in her class's parents for whatever thing they're doing to kind of get the ball rolling. And it's just, it kind of all comes at once. And then as the finale is tomorrow is her choir, like her spring choir show at 7:00 on Friday. And she gets out of school next Wednesday. And I was like, wow, it really kind of cut that close. And I actually didn't even know about it till like a week ago. So it's just funny. Part of the problem is I don't check my emails as often as I should. And I am always behind. Another part of the problem is I sometimes truly don't get these emails. So thankfully I have some moms that really kind of know this and they step up and they help me. Just a reminder, Jennifer, get these tickets, just a reminder. And I feel like an idiot. And I feel like sometimes I'm just like so far behind, but I do try to participate. I was at the Easter party. I made the cut. That's the other thing. When I try to make the cut to go to these little events and parties and whatever, I never make the cut. I don't know if I'm not cool enough, but I am wearing an outfit today that makes me look like Janet Jackson Rhythm Nation. So I feel I'm cool enough. So there's all of that going on. There's another thing going on that just happened was Mother's Day. And, Mother's Day in my head was what I remember doing for my mom is making her breakfast in bed. I had no idea how to cook. I remember the one year I remember making her breakfast in bed, I feel was I gave her 2 toaster waffles, Eggo waffles, 2 pieces of toast, and I think I gave her coffee, but it wasn't how she drank it. And I remember my mom being like, "Thank you. That's a lot of bread." But I'm like, "Thanks. You're welcome." So I probably helped her eat it. I don't know. But I don't remember like, going to brunch or anything. I don't remember doing that at my age, but we didn't really, and we went to breakfast, um, which is nice. But what was really special to me, I mean, I did kind of lay around that day, so that was nice. But what was really special to me is Charlotte. I actually canceled my work schedule for the weekend, so I wasn't working on Saturday. And her and I, she's super, super duper into, makeup and all of that, but she's also into squishies, which is basically just shit. It's basically all what they call now sensory stuff and squishies and they've been around. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but all of a sudden they went viral. Certain brands went viral. Like, I don't know, Neato, these, I don't even know, dumpling squishies, these freaking butter squishies, all this bullshit. But you know what? It makes her excited. So what I did was I put on a black baseball cap at like 9 o'clock in the morning, threw on some clothes. She was already ready to go. Like, where are you going? She had asked me the night before if we could go on a squishy, basically like what's it called? When you go to Robert, what's it called when you're doing not a treasure hunt, but when you're going scavenger hunt. Thank you. A scavenger hunt. This is why I have Robert here, guys. A scavenger hunt. So basically the deal is we had to go to all these places like before they open, but Target opens at 8 and she's telling me this at like 8:50. And I'm like, okay, well, by the time we get there, I mean, I hustled, but we didn't get there till 9:30. No chance in hell. Then we ran over to Five Below because there's word on the street. Where this street is, I don't know, that you go and you wait outside like they did for Cabbage Patch Kids in 1984 for this bullshit, squishy shit that I guarantee you in a few months, no one will give a shit about. We stood out there and it was funny because it didn't open till 10. So we got there like 10 minutes early. There were people waiting. There were parents, moms, not dads, just so you know, no dads. There was moms with their kids about Charlotte's age. And in my head, I'm thinking, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? But I had my investigative hat on, so I was ready to go. And I I look at this mom and we literally had a conversation with our eyes for like a minute. And then I just looked at her and I'm like, WTF? And she's like, seriously? And I go, haven't these been popular for a while? Like, why all of a sudden now are we waiting outside of And she's like, I don't know. We've already been to Target and somewhere else. She'd already been 2 places at 9:50 in the morning. So you go into Five Below and the kids run over to the section, which there's none. So then Charlotte's learned that you go and ask people that work there. You no more go to the section. You go like to Target. She went up to guest services because she got a whisper from somebody, who the somebody is, I don't know, that sometimes at the guest area, they keep the squishies behind the counter there. You just have to ask them. So now when we go up to these people, Charlotte doesn't even have to ask, which I'm really proud of her because she used to be really nervous before and I'm trying to get her not to be nervous, to just ask for help or ask a question. It's okay. She'll just go up and before she even says anything, they literally look at her and they're like, I'm sorry, sweetheart, we don't have any squishies. And I'm like, oh, she's your first one that's asked you this? They're like laughing because it's so ridiculous. So they tell us, well, we only get shipment. We don't know what's in there. So sometimes there's just like 3. So it's like if you get here when you open and we put them out, you're in luck. And if not, you're up Schitt's Creek. And this is like so crazy. So we did that. And then we went to the mall. And the mall, and back in the day, was open at 10. And when we got there, I looked and the sign said 10, but it was not open yet. But there was a few things open. Of course, Starbucks was open. But we go and there's like those kiosks, and she can't find her fucking shoes that are in front of her feet or the pencil she just dropped. But she can see across the mall around a tree that there's a kiosk that looks like it has squishies and she's running to it. And it's this guy that has all these squishies. So I bought her squishy. She told me she was bringing her own money. And I said, honey, you're not. And she goes, but it's money I got for my birthday. Okay, great. So I just told her, you could just buy me Starbucks with your gift card and I'll pay for the squishies. So we get some squishies. She's like so excited. We go to Starbucks. It was really cute too because she wanted, we didn't get breakfast. So she got a bagel and we're sitting on the inside and there's this elderly couple sitting on the outside. They're probably like, I mean, honestly, they looked about like super cotton heads. So probably like almost like 85, 90 maybe. They were really, really old. And the wife was so cute. I have such a soft spot for old people, but the husband was wearing like a suit jacket and like trousers. It was so cute. And they had like 6 things of water from Starbucks on their little round table. And the woman is wearing like bright red lipstick and like jeans and like this, she was like, she totally did herself up. And she's watching me and Charlotte and she keeps waving to me and like giving me like a hi or, whatever. And every time I turned to look at her, she'd give me a thumbs up and she'd point to Charlotte and then to me and give me a thumbs up. Cause I was like helping Charlotte, whatever. And then she like put her hand over her heart and like was like pointing to Charlotte like she's, this is so special. And I just thought that was so sweet. I mean, they were so old and so cute. And I just, I mouthed thank you to them and they waved when we left and everything. And that was really cute. And then Charlotte then proceeded to, once they opened, we went into like 8 more stores that supposedly had squishies. And I only made her buy one thing. I told her, she wanted slime too, because apparently that trend isn't dying a slow death. It's it's dying a slow death. It's forever. And she loves slime. She still loves it. So anyways, we had the best day together and that was really special. She was so excited that she got to hang out with me. And, sometimes I had told myself I don't want to work on weekends, but I'm very busy and with work and I appreciate it and I love it. And some people can, most people want to do it during the week, but there are a few that truly work and can't, and they need my help on the weekend. So I'm there and I try to balance it out and be like 1 weekend a month or whatever. But when I am home with her, it's special. She's so excited. She's just like, super, super excited. And then on Mother's Day, she wanted to wear our matching dresses and, it's cute. I know it's going to pass. So I ball it all up and smush it and put it in my pocket because I know there's going to be a time where she doesn't want to hang out with me all the time. I mean, she does sometimes not want to hang out with me. She still wants to talk to her friends on the phone, even if I'm home. But she'll say that she loves that I'm there with her. So I'll take it because, I hear these horror stories. My mom says that I was kind of bitchy in like high school, junior high and high school. I feel that she's mistaken, but that's a conversation when my mom's on here that we'll have to kind of dive into. I did pretend sometimes that my mom didn't exist when she was dropping me off somewhere. Apparently, I thought I just drove myself at, 15 and just dropped from the sky. If I wasn't driving, I'd make her park around the corner so I wouldn't walk up and like with my mom. I'm going to probably walk Charlotte into every party, even in college, but it's okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. So anyways, that's my story about that. School's winding down. So much stuff with all of that is just crazy. And I just don't remember being so involved. Like my mom wasn't involved. I don't remember having all this stuff. I mean, every week is something and it's fine. It's fun. It makes it fun, sports stuff and her stuff. And then it's like teacher appreciation and book reports and projects with book reports and making a board game with book report. And it's all this stuff. And I just don't remember any of that. I remember doing a couple things, but I feel like the bar for that kind of like involvement every week, I know they're trying to make school fun because really every day it's the same thing. I mean, I remember just like watching the clock when I was in certain classes that I loathed, just listening to the tick of the clock and just looking up and it'd been like 2 seconds and it felt like 22 minutes. So I get it, but being on the other end, I'm like, oh my God, enough. So anyways, that is that. And you guys can relate. And if you have any funny stories, just kind of let me know because, we hear about this stuff at the beginning of the year. And then all of a sudden we're like, what? There's a project in May? Like, this is crazy. And then we're like, well, we did know in August. But yeah, we all can relate. We can relate to the craziness of then summer camp. You have to, all of that craziness too, of like, put your name in and know somebody who can get you in and this and that and da-da-da. And Charlotte has one at her school, but she doesn't want to do it this year. She did tell me that she felt it was a little boring. They did up the game a little bit last year, but she said it was still kind of boring. So we're skipping her school, which is the easiest one, of all. But we're here another day, another story to tell, and she's going to be ending fourth grade soon, and in less than a week. So wish me luck and let me know your stories if you have any, or comments if you have any, because we're all there. We're all doing it. And we're all parents who probably didn't do 90% of this shit when we were younger. And now here we are, like, I don't know, crazy. Anyways, okay. So with that being said, I also want to say this, that David was with Charlotte. He ended up going to the mall the same night that I went with her earlier in the day, because they were going to fix her iPad. And of course, David gets suckered. He will not say anything about it. He's always like, oh, why did you buy this for her? So he comes back with shit for her because he's like, well, she looks at me with those eyes. And I'm like, yeah, but they're just her eyeballs. And I'm like, well, why do you give me shit? So he comes back and he shows me what he got her. He didn't get her. It was like one thing. It wasn't crazy. But then Mother's Day, he comes up. So the next day he comes up to me and he hands me, he's like, I got you a present. And I was like, for Mother's Day? And he's like, well, you're not really my mother. So not really, but kind of. And he got me a Boats and Hose from Stepbrother t-shirt. And that was the highlight. That was the highlight of my freaking Mother's Day, was getting that t-shirt. And I should have worn it today, but I'm going to wear it next time. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, this is the best gift ever in the whole world. It's little things, right? But anyways, yeah, if you have any stories, let me know about just life, I guess. Kids, school, Mother's Day. How was your Mother's Day? I wish everybody a happy Mother's Day. I hope you had a good time. I'm on a lot of these mommy groups on Facebook, and I started that because of my business, kind of growing my business that way. And I stay on some of them. I like to get some information, some of it's, very relevant. Some of it's more for younger kids. Again, now, Charlotte's getting older and stuff, but some of these people write this stuff about their Mother's Day, like what happened and stuff. And I'm like, I don't understand how terrible this is, like, oh my gosh, like the husband never even came home or like went golfing or, and I'm just sitting here going, you know what? I got to hang out with Charlotte and hang out with David. We were pretty much at the house most of the day, and it was fine. I just laid around. It was great. I didn't even turn on the TV. I don't even turn on the TV anymore. I used to like sit and like to binge watch something. Now I just want silence. So I was like reading a book and hanging out with the dogs. So all was good. And as you guys also know, I love to talk about organizing, right? So that is something that I feel in the last few weeks I haven't really had a chance to do. And I know a lot of times it's a little mundane on certain things, but I go back to going into people's houses and being very cognizant of people's, personalities, behavior, stuff like that. And I can tell right away a lot of things. Somebody who's very adamant on not getting rid of anything. I just, now that if I help them more than, a year or a few times, I realize I just can't really make them get rid of stuff. And I'm not going to keep trying. It's not making them, it's just kind of guiding them. I had a client that reached out. I don't know how she got my information. I'm assuming maybe from my website or something. She actually booked an appointment on my website, which you can do, everybody, in itsproperplace.com. You can book a consultation or an appointment, whatever. And so she told me she's moving. So she lives in like on the west side, West LA, and she's in a rent-controlled apartment that she lived in for 16 years. So, rent-controlled apartments, I actually did not know until a few years ago that that's still relevant in not the West Coast. I feel like it's always in New York. I feel like it's like New York and New York. You always hear about it, but apparently in like the West Side, there's a big rent-controlled area. So it's like you have these apartments, and some of them they're older. They've had to probably make some renovations and stuff, but it's not like, it's older. But if it's rent controlled and you're paying $1,000 or $1,200 for a one bedroom in freaking the West Side, you're going to stay there as long as you can. She's going to buy something. So she's like, And right when she said it's rent controlled and I've lived there for 16 years, I knew right away that she's never purged anything. I could tell. I could just tell. Was I wrong? I was not wrong. You guys, I was not wrong. And I didn't, until I talked to her on the phone, I just said, well, am I doing like a purge and pack? Are we purging and then I'm going to pack the stuff and then you're going to move it? She's like, no, I just want to do the purge right now since I've never really purged. She's like, every time I move, I purge, but I haven't moved in 16 years. So I knew I was in for something and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I walked in and I was like, all right. The funny part to this story is I thought it was funny because I've seen so many things. People always say to me, like they'll ask me funny, like what's one of the craziest stories you've walked into? What's one of this? What's one of this? Am I the worst? I've told you guys this before, but this one was interesting because I've had clients, some of these clients have so much alcohol in their house. And they'll say like, oh, we have big parties. Everybody brings like a nice bottle of something, right? I get it. And the funny part to this story is most of these people that have all this are not drinkers. It's hilarious. They'll have it for people, but they'll like maybe once a year I'll have a drink. Like it's not how it was back then, I guess. And they'll have more alcohol than like a Total Wine or a Bevmo. I'm like, you can open a store here. And sometimes people are like, we should do a shot after, or I'll see a lot of alcohol and I'll be like, so after this, are we going to do a shot? And it's just all tongue in cheek. And they're like, do you want to? I'm like, no. But I've had times where this one guy was putting in his like back house area. It was like kind of like an extension. I don't want to say a man room. It wasn't like a man cave, but it was kind of like a family area. If they have parties, it was bigger. They built a bar in there. It had like TV. It had like games like basketball and, hockey, whatever, and whatever that is. And then, just like stuff like that. And he had built Robert, what's it called when stuff comes out of a thing, like a thing? Like alcohol comes out of like a beer thing, or if you have like a tap. You're killing me. I know. This is why you're here. I don't drink beer. This is why you're here. I don't know. I don't drink beer out of a water well. So anyways, like a tap, but he did one with whiskey. So he had a beer one and then he had one with whiskey. It's like 9:00 in the morning and he's showing me, he's like, Jennifer, it's finally done. Look at this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. I didn't really think about it with whiskey. At bars, but like in your backyard, whatever. He's like, I'm so excited. Do you want to do a shot with me? I'm like, of whiskey? I don't do brown alcohol. And he's like, come on. And I'm like, okay. So like at 9:00, I did like a shot of whiskey and I wanted to die. But that's the only time in the 10 years that I've had my business that it's been like, that. The lady, so we're walking up the stairs and it's one of those apartments, she has to let me in with she comes to let me in, I guess, instead of me just walking up. I don't know. And she says something about drinking. And I was like, oh, because I said, you ready for this purge party? Because I kind of joked with her. She didn't seem super outgoing. You have to kind of read the room. I have to read the room. Not super outgoing, but she talked and she's like, oh yeah, I'll definitely be drinking or something like that. So I was like, oh, because I said party. Oh, no. She pulls out the Stanley for adults, like the big one with the big straw, like the tall one, like the big, not a kid's Stanley. She pulls out the normal size Stanley with the big straw. She opens it up. I shit you not. She pours like half of it with JD. Okay? Then a little bit of Diet Coke. I don't care. Drink away, whatever makes. She's like, I have so much anxiety. I'm like, well, everyone's kind of anxious, when someone's in their home and like doing this. And she's like, mine's like medical. I'm like, oh, okay. So she proceeds to drink that. Fine. Literally, I give zero craps. I don't even care at all. But then a little bit later, she fills it again. Like half with Jack Daniels, Diet Coke in this Stanley. And I'm thinking, that's a lot. And I'm a heavy pourer, but that was a lot. Now she's drank 2. Then she does a third one. I was only there for like 5.5 hours. That's a lot. So by the third one, she's laying on the ground, just against the wall and just pointing. And I was like, and she's like, whoa, kind of feeling a little, and I'm like, buzzed? Yeah, you are. And I don't care. I really don't care. Do you want to drink? I don't care. I'm just doing what I'm, tell me what to get rid of, whatever. But the funny part was she wanted to help me take all like the trash down and stuff and like donations. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Cause I'm watching her like try to stand and she has stairs and everything. And she's like dragging the bag of trash on the ground and it's the trash bag and it's ripping the bottom of the trash bag and all the shit is literally like trickling out. And I'm standing there and she's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I'll handle it. Don't worry. And she just stood there holding a bag with no bottom and all the shit. And when I say shit, it was a lot of stuff she hadn't got rid of. A lot of just stuff, just old stuff. Like she's not a purger, cleaner, organizing person. And that's okay. That's why I'm busy. But it was so funny because I'm like, oh, she's really drinking. Like she's legit. Like she's drinking. Maybe it helped her anxiety. But when she left, I'm like, maybe you go take a little nap. And she's like, I think I will. And she was pretty drunk. And I was just thinking of how much brown alcohol that is in like, I don't know, 4 hours. Like I can't even smell whiskey without getting buzzed and like dying. I wish I could. It's so cool. Like you're like, oh, look at me with my whiskey. No, not me. But she definitely had some fun apparently, but she didn't really help with the purge. I think she just did more of the party part. But I laughed. Robert, she was pre-gaming before.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
She was pre-gaming, but never even played the game. I don't know if you know what pre-gaming is, guys, but it's when you... No, just kidding. It's a funny joke between Robert being lame and me being amazing. So... So anyways, yeah, that was just a funny thing, but just like the purging part. So in line with that, and it's not talking about somebody, and I'm not judging somebody by the fact that she never purged anything. I get it. There's some people that it's there and there's other people it's not there. And, some of the stuff, what I suggested to her, I said, you're moving into this new place. She bought a place, like a condo or something. And I'm like, you're moving in, so this is like a fresh start. So, let's get rid of the stuff that you don't give a shit about. And let's, you don't need to buy all new stuff if you're going to use it. Some of the stuff she, never opened, bought it, never opened, kind of situation. But this is like a fresh start. So, I always I try to see things as glass half full all the time. There are days where I have a glass half empty day, but not often. I just don't believe in that. I feel like, your glass is already halfway because you're alive, I guess. And I was just trying to guide her and say, listen, don't beat yourself up for how this looks. You've had, she had a kind of, some things go on in her life that, can make you feel just like, I don't really want to do shit kind of mindset. But I'm like, hey, you have a fresh start here. So let's get rid of all this crap, this extra. And I always talk about this stuff that just kind of sticks in your head and your body and your lists, the list of people have of stuff to do. And somewhere organizing's always on it. And it's like, okay, let me help you get there. So when you move into your new place, you can set it up or maybe have me help you set it up or someone else help you set it up. And then it's ready to go. And if she's there for 16 years, who knows? Maybe it'll look like that again. But it was pretty bad. And what was interesting is you couldn't really walk a lot in there in the beginning. And she was telling me that a housekeeper came. And I was like, in my head, I was thinking, what is she cleaning? Because the whole entire floor wasn't, maybe like the kitchen and the bathroom, maybe. But even then I was like, you're paying for someone now, you can't even walk in here. So again, it's just like the wastefulness. And I try to touch things that we all can relate to. Like, in a situation like that, she's paying for a housekeeper. You couldn't see the floor. You couldn't see any surfaces. Every single surface, her 2 end tables next to her sofa, or her living room tables, her coffee table had baskets underneath. The kitchen table, if you ever wanted to sit there, you couldn't. So it's like, what's this lady cleaning? So you're paying for her to clean. What is she cleaning? She can't vacuum. She can't dust. So the only thing I could think of is she was maybe cleaning down the kitchen. But even then, the kitchen counters were filled with stuff. And it's a small apartment. It's not huge, especially the kitchens. These are older apartments. These aren't these swanky ones with these big things. This is like the one counter on one side with the sink and the other side where you have a foot square that you can dice up your food and cook it. She's like, I don't even really cook. So maybe that's why, I don't know. But my point to that story, which I'll get there, is just fresh start. She had a fresh start. Let's get rid of stuff. And let's not be so wasteful. Like again, I go to, she's spending money on a housekeeper. You couldn't even see the floor. Is it my money? No, it's not my money, but I want to help her. And that's why I get so excited when I talk about organizing, because I always just get so excited to help people. Because she's like, wow, you have a really like energetic personality. I'm like, well, I'm here to help you. So I have to be, I have to be, because I'm excited to help you, because when I walk out of here, you're going to feel a lot better about where you're at in your place. A lot of times people will say, not so much get frustrated when it takes longer than I think. And I'm usually pretty spot on, estimating within an hour or two. I might be off just depending on how many like nooks and crannies and stuff. But I'm like, you'll be surprised at how much can be done in like 5 to 8 hours. Like sometimes it's a disappointment because like, for instance, a playroom / you're going to get new furniture / you have to build the furniture. It's like, oh, 8 hours, sure. But, oh, you want me to build it. You want me to build the furniture and then, got to put it together, which, it takes longer than you think. And then, get everything situated. So sometimes it does take a little bit longer, but some people are like so surprised at how much you get done and it's just like how good it feels. And, like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And, that's something that makes me really happy. It just makes me really happy for people. Can I save lives by brain surgery and all of those things? I can't, but I can definitely help people feel a little bit better in their home. And that's where, you want to feel like at a home, not just like a storage place where you're moving pile to pile. And, her situation was a little bit different than some and most actually. And I have a newer client right now, and she basically has this house that she had just inherited. And the thing is, it's this amazing house. I mean, magazine house, okay? Amazing. But it was her dad's, and it's been there a while. It's, so they're kind of giving it a refresh. It was very dark. It had all the dark furniture, all the dark wood, that type of thing. So she just lightened it up. She didn't really do a lot of like gutting of the house because it's gorgeous and you don't need to, but she just like, had stuff like painted and then like refinished on the cabinets and stuff just to kind of brighten it up. This house is phenomenal. And it's amazing, but she's like, we basically took everything out, got rid of, they got rid of her dad's stuff. And so now she's just like, so this one's a blank canvas. Like I go in and it's basically just with all the organizing, like this is my dream, like going and shopping for bins and containers and the labels and all the fun stuff and, baskets and all of this stuff that I love to make her house the way she wants it. She has another house that she's currently living in, and that house hasn't had that in a long time. So it's beautiful. Like you walk in and it's not cluttered, but you open up the stuff and that's where it's all kind of hidden. So she just wants me to go in and do magic there too. And the magic there is, let's purge some of the stuff that we've had for 20 years because some of it she hasn't even really touched. Her kids are grown now and, it's that thing. And then just kind of giving it a refresh and thinning out some of the stuff. So that is also really exciting. I really enjoy what I do. The house that she just inherited, that's a blank canvas. So it's hard. It's great because all I'm really doing is putting containers in spots where there's nothing, like all the drawers in the bathrooms and, stuff that I typically use in like bathrooms and kitchens and stuff like that. It's hard because there's nothing. So some of it I'm like, I'm just setting this here and I might, once products and stuff comes in, then maybe it'll have to adjust. But the other house is where you really see all the magic because it's like, oh my gosh, getting rid of the stuff and, and she does it so interesting, like methodically. Like she'll look at me, I'll show her everything. I'll have a pile for her and I'll be like, here's all your vases. And she'll look at me and be like, okay. And that's all she says. And so in my head, I'm like, do you want me to hold them up for you? Do you want me to, bring them closer? She won't say anything. And then I go, and over here is this. And then after a couple minutes, then she'll be like, okay, I only want those 2 vases on the right. And then the rest will go. And I'm like, oh, like that's how she's doing it. She's like a mastermind. Because a lot of people talk to me about every single thing. every vase. If there's 50 vases, I hear 50 stories. They'll tell me about it. Maybe it's their way of saying goodbye to it, letting go of it. I don't know. Um, but so those are a couple projects that I've been working on, and then another house this week that I wrapped up on, and hopefully she will, in 6 months or a year, kind of a revisit, and things do change. Kids get a little older, that type of thing. But she had the best personality. She was so funny because she's like, I would say something, she would tell me something like 6 times. But again, I read the room and I try to make it light and funny, because if you're not laughing, then it seems like it's a punishment. And she's not really helping me. I just need help with the purging part. Like, really, she didn't have to do anything except say yes or no. But she would want to like revisit stuff. And she'll be like, okay, so I want to have all the computer and electronic cords together. She told me that like 7 times. So like on the 7th or 8th time, I'm like, wait, did you say you wanted all of those together, or do you want me to spread them apart throughout the house? And she's like, wait a minute. Are you making fun of me? I'm like, no. I just want to clarify, because you told me 6 other times, but this time I just want to make sure. And she's like, you're totally making fun of me. And she laughed, and it was funny. I read the room though. Like, it was not making fun of her for saying that. I know people have to clear it out of their head, and then she started laughing. She's like, oh my gosh. And then later on, she's like, okay, I found another cord that I don't want on the other side of the house. I want to keep them all together. And so we were laughing about it, and it's like silly humor, but that's what I kind of, it just makes it feel better when you're in someone's home, and it's not so like, this is what you need to do, and and there's no conversation. I mean, usually I'm listening to music, but when I do ask, I'm totally engaged and involved, and, just clarify things. Or I'll be like, hey, let's talk about this. Why do you have 700,000 billion zillion free samples of face stuff that has probably been in here for a couple years and is probably dead? She's like, that's a really good question. And then that's all she says. So then I'm like, okay, so you'll revisit that when I'm gone. And so she'll tell me like, I did my homework, I got rid of it, whatever. But I have to make it kind of light and funny. When I say fun, it's not fun for them. They're like, how do you do this all the time? I do it because I enjoy it. It's also very like cathartic for me. And I listen to music or sometimes listen to a book, and then I'm changing someone's like feelings about their home. When they walk in, they feel like they can breathe and feel good about their, having people come over, and not having to worry about hiding stuff in bags and shoving them somewhere, and cramming and shoving. Those are words I never use. Cram and shove and just whatever. I never use those words because it scares me. But yeah, so the idea that hiring an organizer sometimes is, oh my gosh, first of all, the cost. Some people think, oh, I can just do this myself. And you can. And I keep saying these things because it's not untrue. You absolutely can do this yourself. There's a couple people I think that, based on, if they have a lot of distractions and stuff, maybe aren't going to be able to, like, they'll maybe just get like a drawer done a year, and so they need that kind of guidance. But sometimes we can tag team. Like if I tell them, you work on this, I work on this, like you purge that, I'm going to set this one up, and we switch. Now half of that room has gotten done. The cost is not that much in the scheme of things. And also, if you spend a few $100s, let's just say, for 8 hours, like 8 hours of time will change your life. Like it will change part of your house life. And for what you're paying, I feel like it's worth it for kind of like a peace of mind. Just like I go and get my hair done, I'm sure I could do a pedicure myself. I'm sure that, some people, they do not want to be home when I'm there. They want to come home and be like, oh my gosh. Yes, people ask me, well, how do you purge stuff without them being there? I'm like, well, usually they'll kind of tell me like, hey, just so you know, all of the toys, we're not keeping anything but Barbies. So then I know there's my answer. I'm not keeping anything but Barbies, and like board games. Okay, we're going to keep board games and Barbies. Great. Well, that's my answer. But sometimes they'll say, just send me pictures. So I'll just lay out stuff on the ground and, or wait till they get back. If they're only going to be gone an hour, great. Sometimes they're gone all day. So I'll just send them some pictures, and they'll give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or say, hey, you know what, leave it for me and I'll look at it when I get home, kind of situation. But, it's worth it, and it's worth it for your peace of mind. And in the world where we're so rushed and everything's so crazy and everything is so rushed, I don't remember life being so rushed. I just don't remember, and I know a lot of it is with Charlotte, like getting her to school, picking her up from school, all of her school stuff, all of this, all of this. But I was rushed before too, in a different capacity, but it's just like we're always rushing and we always are packed. Our schedules are usually packed with kids activities and birthday parties and people parties and events. And if you volunteer at the school or if you're on the board of the school or you are involved in the school, there's all that stuff that goes along with that. Or your work, your husband's work. Some of these husbands own their businesses and they have parties and they have events and they have things. And, it's like, when are you organizing your office? When are you organizing your kids' playroom? Probably not. So it is worth the investment, but it's also worth that peace of mind. You don't have to worry about it. And it just makes for, I don't know, I feel like a little bit of help just goes a long way. And that's what I'm saying about what I do. And I justify what I do because we pay for a lot of things. We pay for people to come and pick up your dog poop. I don't do that. David's my dog poop picker-upper. But we do have somebody that helps us walk our dogs just because we are sometimes gone all day. But she comes like 2 days a week on the days that I know it's going to be, long days. And that's really the help that, I do for, it's well worth it. And she loves our dogs like they're hers. So why wouldn't I? I treat everybody's stuff like it's theirs. The woman that I'm helping right now with the house that she inherited, one of the things I said, we were kind of doing a phone kind of consultation, kind of feeling out my personality and my vibe and, how she, she had to read me. She had to figure out I'm going to be in her home for a while. And I said, I treat your home like my home. Like I will treat everything like it's, mine. Not like I'm taking it, but just, I'm treating it like it's mine. I care for it. It's the toys I care for. I'll sit there and if I need to find the puzzle pieces because the little 1-year-old has these favorite puzzles and we can't find one of the pieces when I'm going through stuff. I will pay attention to look for that piece instead of just like wanting to swish all the stuff into the trash. And I don't want to do that. This week I actually, Charlotte stayed home from school. She had a really bad cold. Actually the afternoon of Mother's Day and she missed school and I was in her playroom on Monday because I had to stay home with her. And I was in her playroom. She's like, Mommy, please don't get rid of everything. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just cleaning it up. And then there was a few things I asked her, are you ready to part with this? Are you ready to part with this? And she's like, fine. So I got rid of like 2 trash bags of stuff. And, and she's like, don't get rid of anything. And I just said, are you still playing with this? Because we have Barbies. You have 70 Barbies. Like you play with 3. Can we get rid of some? She got rid of like 30 Barbies. I was like, perfect. Let me donate it to someone who can use it. But yeah, it's peace of mind. It's all of those things. So something that I get asked, I won't say a lot, but I do get asked pretty regularly is to write like not blogs, but like little articles or little stories about, sometimes it's about how I got started in my business, what I do. It's kind of I don't want to say it's a unique thing because I feel like now organizing, you hear about it all the time, especially because, you have, Marie Kondo when she came out all of the other organizing, the Netflix shows and all of that. So with all of that, organizing has definitely become more popular and it is not for everybody. Organizing, some people think they can organize and they can task organize, but not as specific as I get or as most organizers who do this fairly every day get. But I get asked to write, how did I get here? What did I do? Was I in corporate America? I'll write a little story for our, whatever magazine or blog or whatever. And I get like, sometimes it has to be where I have to think like bullet points and not just ramble like I do because I love to talk. And sometimes I forget to bullet point it. Sometimes it's nice when they point it out to me. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about, so I get asked to do these articles and some things are like, tell me about trends that you see in homes, and so that's really fun because I definitely see some trends that are going on right now in homes. A lot of things you see, I mean, I see so many things in homes. I'm going to tell you right now, but they'll be like, tell me about, some exciting things that are changing. And so a lot of things that have changed just in this since I've been here is like very specific organizing, like bins and containers and stuff like that. Before it was like, your garage bins, sometimes they were multicolored, like here's the purple, here's the green, and then there were some clear ones. Now, like to me, I never was. Oh, I mean, I probably got purple and green because that's what you had. There wasn't such a selection of all these bins for like the garage. But in terms of your home, I mean, now there's like bamboo drawer inserts and the bamboo lids. A lot of people want like seagrass baskets and bamboo baskets, and then they want glass is a huge thing. And it's funny because it's such a trend because everyone's like plastic yuck, right? Plastic go away, blah, blah, blah. But they want like their stuff to be in glass with maybe like a bamboo or some kind of, wood kind of looking top. But then you have like little kids and I'm like, you're putting pasta in there and hopefully you're keeping it high enough, but they want it in their pantry and it's like their pantry's kind of low. And I'm like, are you sure we want to do glass? That's more of a showcase piece on top, or we're adults and we know how to hold a piece of glass. But there's some trends like, in bathrooms and towels and just certain things that people ask me. But a lot of times it's talk about trends you see and like what your thoughts are on that or whatever. So I love doing that. And I'm very thankful that I get to do that because, my opinion is my opinion, but some people might have the same opinion or people like hearing different opinions. What do they say? Everybody has an opinion. Something like that, right? Is that all they say, Robert? Everyone has opinions? Is that? Yes, that's what the other part was. I didn't remember. I'm really not doing good today with my remembering of water wells and everything. So for people who are hesitant to have somebody come and organize their house, I, like to give little, tricks and things that I've may have mentioned before. I'm sure I have because this is stuff that I do every day and, but pick a bite-sized piece. Don't go in there going crazy. Like some people will contact me and they're like, this is what I want to do. I need to purge. I need to reset. I need to also transition the rooms. I need to get dressers for my kids. I'm not, bigger dressers, or they don't have a dresser, let's say, or a desk. Now everybody wants their kids to have a desk in their room if their room is big enough. 99% of the time, the kids are still going to do it on the dining room table. I'm not going to lie to you. However, it is nice to have a desk that has the drawers and has like maybe a shelf or two for the books and the stuff that they have. Then you have a place to put it. Usually for girls, I feel a lot of it ends up being just like a secondary makeup station. It's not a waste of money. It's just what I see. Are they doing their homework sitting at their desk? They might just be sitting on their bed doing their homework, but at least they have a place to put all of the school supplies and all of this shit that goes along with that. But pick a bite-sized piece. So they'll say, I want to redo this. I need to purge this. I want my daughter's room this. Then I want to hang some pictures. We might be painting. It's like 27 things. Let's pick what's the first thing. The first thing is, what do you want to do in this room? So you want to get new furniture, like a new dresser. Are you changing a theme? Are you doing this? So I can do the organizing part. I can even help you set up the room and lay out the room. And a lot of people don't know that, but I help people like transition their rooms and like move furniture all the way around, help build furniture or have them build it and then put it up, set it up, pictures, the whole nine, everything, not just like bins. Organizing is not just bins and baskets. That's the fun part when you get to label it and you get to have, you open it up and you're like, ta-da, look at this. This is what it is. It's, nail polish and this and this and this. But I sometimes am moving furniture and helping this and, bedding and all of that and kind of helping people and guide them, especially on if they're buying furniture for an area that maybe is a little spatially challenged, making sure they get something that's going to benefit them with a little bit of extra space. So pick a bite-sized piece and then go with that. If you need help, that's great. But if you're doing it on your own, pick a bite-sized piece, pick an area that I always say, makes you want to poke your eyes out. The worst area that you have in your house, especially if you're just going to do an organizing first, you may be waiting for the furniture to come for the bedroom, but while you're in that bedroom, you're going to look at, your office desk or something, whatever it is. Pick a bite-sized piece and then just pick that piece. Some people, when I'm in their house, they'll be like, I want to do the desk. And they'll start going through the desk, and then they'll go into the office closet. And then they'll come back in and they're like, I'm going to bring more stuff that needs to come in from the office. And then they're out in the other room, and then they're bringing stuff in, and they're like, well, I should probably take out the stuff that doesn't belong in the office. And they're like kind of all over the place. So I'm like, let me help you, because then you'll have 17 piles and nothing's ever really, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just back on the floor. A lot of times I see with people, and I did see this the other day, it reminded me, is I'll give them a pile to go through. And let's say of that pile, there's 20 things and they keep 7 of the things. They'll set those 7 things on the floor, and then they'll get up and that's it. I'm like, well, where did you want those to go? Like, what are we doing with those things? Well, I want to keep them. Well, if you just set them on the floor, then we've just defeated the purpose of me being here. So give them to me. I'll put in a little area of stuff that once we kind of make a space and have it kind of organized, then I can put them away. Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Otherwise, they'll just leave the stuff on the floor and then leave the room. And I'm like, now what? Now what do we do with that? Now imagine if I'm not there. That means they're just leaving that stuff on the floor. And then that's how this stuff happens. Or your kids don't put their stuff away, and you always feel like you're putting the stuff away. Tell them. I've been telling Charlotte lately, hey, you have like 5 chores to do before you do anything else. She doesn't really do them. I'll be honest with you. She doesn't. I mean, I wrote it on a thing. I've given her, I'll buy you a pony. I'll do all this. She doesn't really do it. But every once in a while, I'm like, hey, your shoes on the ground, your socks on the ground, like all of these things, your backpack, emptying your backpack and putting your lunch, your container in the sink, that type of thing. Otherwise, she just leaves it everywhere. And people are still doing that. So you can't get upset with your kids when you notice you're constantly cleaning up their stuff, because you're also not cleaning up yours. So again, they see the pattern, and it doesn't go very far. Just pick areas that you want to redo this room, but let's get the stuff we don't want in the room out. And then second, you want to get it painted. So let's get all the stuff out, and you're going to have somebody come and paint it. And then you're going to hopefully in that time period get the dresser and the bed and all of those things, and then have it ready so that when the desk comes, I can set it up. But now we've already purged all that stuff. And now we're, the clothes we already know, I've rehung them in the closet, nothing, no muss, no fuss. But the stuff that goes in the dresser, maybe we put them in a bin until that dresser comes, and you go from there. Like sometimes it's just all over the place, and it's hard because I'm not in any place to be like, you can tell when someone has ADHD pretty solid. You can tell. I don't have to look very hard to see it. But I'm also not going to be like in their face about it. I can just tell, and I'll be like, hey, you're all over the place right now. Let's kind of reel it in. Go back to this area. Don't move for this area till it's done, or let me help you with this area together. And but if I'm not there, you know what I mean? Then you're going to have all these piles, and then that's where the overwhelming feeling comes in. Because now you have all these piles. You're like, I don't know what to do with this. Where do I put it? I don't have any room to put it, because we didn't have a chance to make room because I wasn't there to help you. So that's the benefit of having an organizer in your house. It could be as little, it could be one project just to kind of get the ball rolling. And I've had that a couple times where they'll be like, that's great. We did the worst part, which was like the garage. Now I see what you're doing, and I see what you were saying. So guess what? I'm going to try to take it from here. And if I need your help again, great. That's perfect too. I do give you tools and tricks. I try to tell you things that, make your life a little easier. I can't change the world, but I can try to make your house a home. And I always say this too, is I'm always the extra set of hands that we need. You need somebody to be able to go in there and just kind of dive in. I'm laser focused when I go in there, and I like to share some of these little tips and stuff. And if you have any tips that you use that are great and relate to, and not everything I say works for everybody. So it's what works for you, not for me. But I do tell them a couple options so that, or I'll show them a couple options and say, you let me know what works. And next time I'm here next week, let me know if you need me to change anything, because I'm not married to it. It's not my home. I do what I think is best, but I want it to be the best for you. So on that note, if anybody has any organizing tips, comments, thoughts, feelings, emotions about it, please let me know, because I love to hear feedback. I love to hear new ideas. I'm constantly looking at blogs and stuff on ideas and things, because, our brains are sponges, and I'm not perfect, and that's great. If you ever need to check out my website, initsproperplace.com, fantastic. Book an appointment, book a consultation, or just leave me a message. That's great. Thank you so much for listening. And like, subscribe, follow if you want to get new notifications when a new episode drops. Thank you. Talk to you soon. That's a wrap on today's episode of Unpacking with Jennifer. I hope you're walking away with a little inspiration and a few practical tips to make life at home just a little bit easier. If you love the episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new one. And if you found it helpful, I'd love if you left a quick review. It helps more moms like us find the show. This episode was engineered by Robert Altschuler. Music by Coldfire. Recorded and mixed at Command Recording Studios.